So welcome back to another Unity tutorial, and on this sunny day I'd like to show you how you can create fully functionable portals in Unity, from their shader to their comparably simple script that I will also put in the description for you. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. So in Unity, I've come up with this scene where we can put our portals right in the center, and where we got these two cubes so that you can see later that the portals, like foreshadowing, is working as it should be. And first of all, as we're dealing with shaders in this video, we'll need to use Unity's universal render pipeline. So if you want to know how to set this one up, please check out the video. And another thing that I've prepared in advance is this player controller to look and move around freely, and even to jump. But we won't need that ability in this video. So now let's create a new game object for a portal, like that. And next let's start by adding like the inner part of it that will foreshadow how it will look outside of our target portal. So let's create a new quad, like that. And maybe we should make it a bit taller. And we won't need a collider for this object, since we can simply add a box collider to our parent game object, and then make it a bit more slim, and make sure to make it a trigger. And now in order to be able to render a texture onto our target portal, we want to add a new camera to our first portal, like that. Now we can add a new render texture right here, and I'd like to increase its resolution a bit, like that. Now we can tell our camera to render its output right into that texture. And now let's continue by making our first shader. It should be a lit shader graph, and call it portal inner, for the inner section of our portal. And if you like, you can already create a new material format and assign it to this one, like that. Now let's take a look inside the shader. So make sure to set surface type to transparent, and then we can add our texture as a parameter to our shader, insert it to a sample texture node, and apply its output to our material. Now we can drag our camera texture right in here and start to look impressed, since this one is already working. But as I want this one to have a circular shape, I'd now need to add an ellipse node. I'd like to increase the size of it a bit and convert this one to a mask, so we're able to cut out everything that's not within our circle, and make this one our alpha channel. And you can make it look still a bit better by disabling cast shadows, receive shadows, and preserve specular lighting. And that's already it for the inner of our portal. So in the next phase I'd like to add a border to it, what we can do by adding a new sphere, and maybe like that. Now let's add a second shader, which will be for our border, create a new material from it, and assign it to our border, like that. And in here I want to make my portal go brighter the closer we are to the edge of it. So let's add a new Fresnel effect node, add a new color to it by multiplying it with a color. I'm going to use red now just as an example, so now it looks like that. But I'd like to have a fancy texture to it as well, so I'm going to add a Voronoi node, make its cells a bit smaller, and again multiply it with our color. And finally let's add these two to a final color by using the add node. And insert this one right here. And that's exactly how I'd imagine an awesome looking portal. And if you like, you can make your color a parameter. But now, what's a portal without a fresh looking particle effect? So as a next step, let's add a new particle system to it, make it an edge shape, and instead of these strange bubbles, we want to add a texture sheet animation to it. And for that I'd like to use these sprites that I've created in advance. If you want to find out how I did that, please let me know in the comments. So now I can change this one to sprites, and add my sprites right here. Change their size and scale a bit, and enable color over lifetime. And I'm going to make my start color a bit like orange, the final color black, and make it go transparent at the end. Now I'd like I'd like to add a new color right here. Make this one look similar to my material color. So I'm happy with this one. Now I can easily add my second portal by changing a few settings for my materials, my output texture, and my particle system. There you go. And make sure to add a check to pre-warn. What I think is pretty awesome, how making changes in the environment does actually change our portals. Now obviously these two won't do pretty much at the moment, and that's because we still need to tell them via a script how they should behave. So I've prepared this portal script that I will explain to you in a second, and that you can also find in the description, that you can simply attach to both of your portals and then select the target portal like that. And how it works is that we got our target portal variable right here and a cooldown variable, which prevents our player from adding in an infinite loop. I personally don't want this one to be shown in the inspector. And within our onTriggerEnter function, as soon as our player collides with it, this one will filter any object out that doesn't have a player tag, and as long as we're not on cooldown, we're going to teleport our player, which will set its position to our target portal's position, and then we want to rotate our player. That way our target portal is oriented plus 180 degrees, so that our player does indeed face like the output direction. Then we activate the cooldown at our target portal. And finally, this one is specific for my player script. In some cases we won't need these 3 lines. Now you might wonder, when does our cooldown get disabled again? And that is as soon as a game object with the tag player leaves our trigger zone again. Then we deactivate our cooldown. So, are you ready to take a look at our final result? So let's see what happens if I enter this one, and vice versa. They're working exactly as they should be. Finally, I'll be uploading this demo scene to my Patreon, and if you want to find out how like our player controller works, please check out the video, and I'll see you next time.